Chud the Builder and his team are trying to circumvent a judge's order, and they're doing it openly without any shame, without any regard for the legal system. The judge made it clear that Chud cannot use the money from his GiveSendGo fundraiser to pay his bond. The money was raised after his arrest. It was raised specifically to help a person charged with a violent crime, and GiveSendGo's own policies say you cannot use their platform to fundraise for people facing these types of charges. So the judge ruled that the money is off limits. Chud cannot touch it. He cannot use it for his bond, period. But instead of accepting that ruling, Chud's team found what they think is a workaround. They're publicly asking for an anonymous donor, someone with money who's willing to pay Chud's bond. And here's the deal they're proposing. Someone puts up the $100,000 for the bondsman plus collateral, and in return, Chud's team gives them the $300,000 from the GiveSendGo campaign. So they're not directly using the GiveSendGo money to pay the bond, they're just using it to pay back whoever pays the bond, which is technically a workaround, but is also circumventing the judge's order in spirit, if not in letter. And someone actually came forward. Paul Miller, who's apparently Aiden Ross's best friend, is allegedly willing to put up the money. Paul Miller is someone with ties to white supremacist networks. He's someone who's willing to fund projects that most mainstream platforms would never touch. And apparently, he's also willing to bail out Chud. Now, the judge might not allow this. There could be a hearing about where the money is actually coming from and what the conditions of the bond would be. Because there's a legal principle that says you can't bond someone out under conditions where they're going to work for you or give something back to you in return. It has to be a straightforward bond payment, no strings attached. So when the court finds out that Chud's team is essentially saying someone will pay the bond and in return they'll get the fundraise money, that could be viewed as a conditional bond arrangement that violates the law. But what's really telling here is how openly defiant Chud's team is being. They're not hiding this, they're not trying to be subtle. They're openly saying, hey, the judge said we can't use this money, so we're gonna find someone else to use this money indirectly. It's brazen, it's contemptuous of the court, and what makes it worse is that there's evidence suggesting the judge's decision is justified because the arrest warrant shows that Chud reached for his gun before the physical altercation began. He turned his body in a bladed stance and reached for his firearm. So he wasn't defending himself from an unexpected attack. He was preparing for confrontation. Now here's what's really despicable about all this. Chud's team has written an open letter to Daryl Davis, a black civil rights activist who spent decades trying to bridge racial divides. They're asking him to advocate for Chud. They want him to come to court and testify that Chud is being treated unfairly. They want him to use his platform to argue that the bond is excessive. And their argument is that Chud was actually helping race relations by calling black people the N-word in public. That his confrontational approach was somehow authentic engagement. That him threatening people while using slurs was actually bringing people together. This is absolutely insane. They're asking a black man to defend a white supremacist who spent weeks calling black people slurs and threatening violence. They're asking him to put his reputation on the line for someone who has no respect for him or his people. And what's infuriating is that Chud's team probably knows what they're doing. They know that if they can get a prominent black person to advocate for Chud, it changes the narrative. It makes it look like, see, black people support him too. It's a PR move. It's manipulation. But the deeper issue here is the pattern of behavior. Chud goes around antagonizing people, calling them slurs, making threats, getting shot in the process, and then when he faces legal consequences, he and his team try to game the system. They try to find loopholes. They try to get black people to vouch for him. It's manipulation on top of disrespect, on top of violence, and it reveals something important about these movements. They talk a big game about being authentic and unfiltered, but when the consequences come, they scramble. They try to game the system. They try to use black people as props in their defense. Daryl Davis built his life's work on the principle that dialogue and genuine connection can bridge divides. But dialogue requires good faith from both sides. Chud hasn't shown any good faith. He's shown contempt. And now his team is trying to use Davis's principles against him, trying to get him to legitimize contemptuous behavior. The real question is whether anyone black will actually sign on to this, whether anyone will accept money or attention in exchange for defending Chud. And history suggests that some people will take the bag. Some people will rationalize it. Some people will say a bag is a bag and move on. But most people won't. Most people will see this for what it is: an attempt to manipulate and exploit, a refusal to take responsibility for one's actions, a last-ditch effort to game a system that's finally catching up with them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think anyone black will actually advocate for Chud? Do you think the judge will allow this fundraising workaround? What do you think should happen in this case? Drop your thoughts below. And make sure you subscribe because this case is far from over. The bond hearing happened, the grand jury will decide whether to indict, and the legal process is going to continue unfolding. So stay tuned for updates. Peace.